Leave a like for nothing. What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new story. And just imagine for a second, you're babysitting a kid, and all you want to do is have a chill night. Get that bread, get paid, and maybe put him to bed early so you can watch some Netflix or something. But no, instead, this kid tries to stab you with a kitchen knife because he thinks you're a Backrooms monster. And you just stand there and question your life, dude. Anyways, with that being said, sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, and let's just jump right into this story, dude. So anyways, we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Adam. So anyways, Adam was asked, or he was told by his mom, that another kid, a new kid's mom, or new mom that moved into the neighborhood recently, needed someone to babysit her child. And she posted on Facebook being like, hey, I need a babysitter, and can anyone do it? And Adam's mom, low-key, just like volunteered Adam. Adam was a little upset at first because he definitely wanted to spend his Friday night just, I don't know, chilling, relaxing, maybe watching a new TV show, catching up on a good movie, playing some video games with some friends. But then Adam's mom said, hey, she's going to pay you $50 for like 3 hours. Like, you should do that. And Adam was like, hey, man, $50 for like 3 to 4 hours? That's not too bad, dude. Okay, maybe it was more like 3 to 4 hours until the kid would have to go to sleep, and then you have to wait there until the parents come back. So maybe a little bit longer. But dude, $50 is $50. And Adam was like, okay, you know what? I'll go ahead and do it. So anyways, Adam makes it to this guy's house, or is dropped off by his mom. And, Adam gets there, and we're just going to call him the kid, right? The kid's mom is like, hey, like, I'm so glad you could make it. Like, you know what? We're going to call the kid who thinks the Backrooms are real. We're going to call this kid Ben. Ben's mom was like, I'm so glad you can make it. Like, Ben's just downstairs, or like Ben's upstairs. And she's like, Ben, come down here. And so you hear kind of footsteps of this kid running down the stairs. And sure enough, someone who we presume is Ben walks down and says says waves or whatever. Adam's like, hey, how's it going? And this kid was probably 7 or 8. Adam's like 18, just for a little bit of reference. And, Ben's mom's like, all right, guys, well, I mean, I got to go, like, we got to go right now, as, Ben's dad comes down the stairs. We got to go right now, but, yeah, we'll be, kind of turns to Adam and says, hey, put him to bed at 8. It was like 6, so he literally had like 2 hours, which is pretty chill. And he's like, we're gonna be back like 11 or 12. Feel free to just sit in the room and watch TV. The bedroom is right next to the TV room, so Ben will know where you are, and also you can check in on him. He's not gonna be too far away. And it says, we'll pay you by the end of the night, and call us if you need anything. This is important for later on. So Adam gets Ben's parents' phone number. So Ben's parents leave, and this kid, Ben, doesn't sound like that bad of a kid. He's not this isn't some babysitting horror story where the kid is an incredibly spoiled brat, or he's a psychopath, or, well, I mean, a little bit, but you'll see that later on, right? So this kid isn't like super spoiled or entitled or super bratty or anything like that. So Adam thinks that he really just got like the best deal possible, because this kid was kind of quiet. Adam like looked on the TV and put on like, I don't know, Cyber Chase or some kind of cool show from back in the day that this kid would like. And at some point after about like 20 minutes, Adam's like, hey, like, I'm going to go order us a pizza. Because, Ben's parents said, hey, like, he does need to eat, but you can always order him a pizza. So he gets on the Domino's app or whatever. And at this point, Ben's like, all right, well, I'm going to go in the other room and watch YouTube videos on my iPad. Little did Ben know that this would be the reason why the rest of his night would be one of the scariest nights of his life. You might be thinking to yourself, Connor, how on earth is a kid watching YouTube videos going to turn into being be the reason why this is going to be one of the scariest nights of Adam's life? Well, I'll explain. So this kid goes on his iPad and he starts watching YouTube videos. And eventually he finds one about the Backrooms. And if you don't know, the Backrooms is this kind of like internet urban legend / meme type thing about like you can quote unquote no clip out of reality, and like there's these like scary monsters or whatever. It's this very interesting horror story type thing. There's a lot of video games made around it, a lot of like internet media stuff around it, and it's very popular and trendy. However, this kid Ben was only 7 or 8. So when he found videos about the Backrooms or whatever, he couldn't really separate, fiction from reality, if you know what I mean. So Ben kind of, was watching these videos, and Adam was like, it took about 20 minutes for the pizza to get there. And 20 minutes later, Ben comes in, walks into the room, and it looks like this dude has seen a ghost. Like, I'm not even kidding. This kid looks so frightened. And Adam looks at him. He's like, are you good? He's like, yeah. So basically, Ben had been watching videos about the Backrooms, and after watching those videos, he had convinced himself that he had no clipped into the Backrooms, like last night while he was sleeping or whatever. And he watched a YouTube video that says some backroom monsters, like on floor level 72,628 or something stupid, right? They look like real people, and it's called the babysitter monster or whatever. Like, I know this sounds super goofy to you, because it definitely sounds super goofy to me, but what you got to understand is this kid is like 7 or 8 and he watches a YouTube video. And sometimes when you're 7 or 8, and for the 8-year-olds watching me, part of the 9-year-old bro army, right? Look, you guys are much older and more intelligent than this kid. So congrats to you. But look, sometimes when you're 7 or 8, you can't really separate fiction from reality. For example, when I was 7, for my birthday, I wanted my mom to get me a Star Wars robot. And I don't mean like an action figure. I mean a legitimate robot that they had in Star Wars. I wanted a real life R2-D2 that did everything that R2-D2 did, because I kind of believe that like all the droids and robots in Star Wars were actually real. Yeah, I was maybe I was like 6 or something at the time, but I can definitely relate to back in the day. You think anything, like everything that exists is real. Eventually you start to be able to distinguish fiction from reality. But, you know, Adam gets the pizza, he puts it down, and this Ben kid takes a piece and just like picks at it. He doesn't really do anything. And Adam's a little worried and is like, hey, bro, are you good? Like, you're not really eating your food. Are you not hungry or something? And this kid's like, I'm good. Like, maybe I'll just have some of this later. So Adam's like, all right, well, as long as you're okay with cold pizza, I'll throw any of this, like, that you're not going to eat into the fridge. You know, Ben doesn't eat anything. And so Adam's like, all right, man, well, this stuff will be in the fridge when you want it. Just let me know, okay? And so Ben is sitting there, is silent for like 20 minutes. And that's when he's like, hey, like, do you want to see my room? Basically asking Ben if he wanted to see, or asking Adam if he wanted to see his room. And Adam was like, sure, whatever. Like, this kid seems to be going through something anyways. So, you know, this kid Ben leads Adam up the stairs, leads him into his room. Adam walks into the room and he turns around. He's like, are you going to come in? And that's when he gets the door slammed on him. Ben slams the door on Adam's face, because remember, at this point, Ben believes that Adam is secretly a Backrooms monster who wants to get him or something. And Adam doesn't immediately push the door open because he thinks, I don't know, maybe Ben is playing a game or something like that, but he's a little confused. So, you know, Adam is kind of like, all right, Ben, like, what's going on? And that's when he doesn't hear a response from Ben. He only hears like a piece of furniture being moved. So at this point, right, Adam's pretty confused, and that's when he hears a bump against the door. What Ben was doing was he found like a big piece of furniture, moved it in front, like kind of pushed it in front of the door. So now that like Adam was basically stuck in Ben's room, and Adam starts yelling once the piece of furniture is in front of the door. So like Ben is pretty convinced that, you know, Adam is now stuck in his room. He's like, I know you're a Backrooms creature. And Adam is just so confused right now. He just has legitimately no idea what's going on. And he's kind of like, dude, what? Because the thing is, right, Adam doesn't know what the Backrooms are. He might have seen like a meme or something on like TikTok. But other than that, he just has no idea what like the Backrooms are. So Adam's like, haha, very funny, but you're going to have to let me out there so I can, like, you know, make sure that you're safe and everything. And Ben's like, no, Backrooms creature, you're not going to trick me. And at this point, Adam's starting to realize that, well, Ben might not be responding to normal people logic right now. So he's like, okay, can you at least tell me what I supposedly am? And then he's like, oh, I mean, like, can you tell me what a Backrooms creature is? And Ben's like, wouldn't you like to know, Backrooms monster? And Adam's like, ah. So then Ben's like, you don't, fine. Because I don't know, like, Ben was like, yeah, so I was watching YouTube, and I was watching videos on the Backrooms, and last night I was dreaming, and I totally no-clipped into the Backrooms. And I was watching this video on YouTube, and I know for a fact that you're a Backrooms monster, and you're trying to eat me or something. And at this point, Ben's like, okay. And look, at this point, Ben is just like more annoyed / confused than anything. It starts to turn into a horror story a little bit later on, but you guys can probably tell from the intro skit that it gets pretty intense. But at this point, Adam is like, okay, man, you know, I'm just going to sit in here. and let me out when you feel ready, right? So that, the Ben literally is like, okay, runs downstairs. And Adam is like, okay, kid's going to let me out eventually, right? So 5 minutes pass, 8 minutes pass, 15 minutes pass by. And at this point, Adam's like, all right, I actually need to get out of here. So he kind of like looks through the peephole, right? Because there was like a keyhole in the door, and he looked out, and Ben was not anywhere to be seen. So if he's going to slam through the door, he didn't risk like attacking Ben or hitting Ben or anything like that. So he slams through the door, or kind of pushes it like pretty hard, and the piece of furniture behind it kind of falls over, makes a big banging noise, but Adam is now free from the room. And he hears from downstairs like screaming at Ben, being like, "The monster's out!" And, Adam's like, okay, dude, whatever. And at this point, Adam is still taking this very playfully, very like, he's just being an annoying little kid or something, like whatever. So Adam walks downstairs. He's like, hey, man, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm also not really a Backrooms monster. And that's when he sees Adam standing in the kitchen holding a butter knife. Yeah, it wasn't like a steak knife or something, but bro was holding a knife. And at this point, Adam's heart just drops and his face goes cold. He's like, hey, buddy, I'm going to need you to put that down. And Ben is like, no, I will not do what you say, Backrooms monster. And Adam's like, hey, buddy, I'm not a Backrooms monster. I'm your babysitter. And I'm asking you to put that down. And Adam is like, I'm in charge now, Backrooms monster. He picks up the butter knife and starts charging towards Adam. Real quick, if you made it this far into the video, comment Backrooms down below or the Backrooms down below. It's up to you. I will try and heart as many comments as I possibly can. And if you want to support the channel, literally the best thing you can possibly do is watch this video all the way through. And if afterwards you want to keep supporting the channel, literally the second best thing you can possibly do is binge watch my old videos. If you're doing this, like if you're sitting down and watching a bunch of my old videos, please let me know in the comment section down below how many videos you watched today, how many videos you watched this week, whatever, right? So that I can heart and reply to the comments just saying thank you for supporting the channel. Honestly, you guys watching the old videos is the reason why we've been doing so well lately, and I just want to say thank you, dude. I really appreciate it. Anyways, right, so Adam turns around and sprints upstairs. Because he's like, oh, hell nah, bro. Because one thing he knows is he can outrun Ben. And he can definitely, like, even though Ben was a small, fast kid, Adam was fast, agile, and he was definitely smarter. But he also didn't know the layout of the house. So Adam was just running. He's like, put that down, put that down, put that down. And like the spoiled kid, Ben, or not spoiled kid, but Ben, the kid, is running around like, now I'm in charge, Backrooms monster. You can't haunt me if I'm haunting you. And he's swinging this like butter knife around. Sure, it's not a steak knife, but dude, if someone's swinging like a knife at you, even if it's a butter knife, they can do at least a little bit of damage, right? And yeah, sure, this was a little kid or anything, but Adam was not taking any chances. So Adam runs around the house like 3 times or whatever. Eventually, he passes by the kid's room again. He runs into the kid's room, slams the door shut, and locks it, because it can lock from the inside. The room can't lock from the outside, but it can from the in. So Adam is now in Ben's room, and he locks the door, and Ben is slamming on the door, like, I got you now, Backrooms monster. There's nowhere for you to run. And Adam's like, Ben, I need you to put down that knife. I am not a Backrooms monster. This is very dangerous, and if you don't do what I say right now, I'm gonna tell your parents. And at this point, like, Adam kind of thought that, like, he got him because, like, Ben stopped talking for a second. And then that's when Ben starts laughing maniacally. Like, this is some scary Chucky doll with a knife type laughing right now. And Ben goes on to say, that's silly, Backrooms monster. When my parents come back, they're going to take butter knives as well and help me beat you up because you're a Backrooms monster and you want to hurt us. And Adam's like, dude, no, like, whatever YouTube video you saw was not real life. It didn't actually happen. It's not real. I'm not a Backrooms monster, and I am going to call your parents, and when they come here, they're not going to take your side. I will bet you $100 trillion. And, the little kid says, I'll bet you $100 trillion and $1 that they'll take my side. And Adam's like, all right. If you're not going to, this is your last chance, man. If you're not going to put the butter knife down, I am going to call your parents. So anyways, Ben does not put the butter knife down. Instead, he keeps yelling, "Do what you want to do, Backrooms monster. I know that my parents are going to come on my side because you're a Backrooms monster." Yeah, he really was not letting this go, dude. He was really like, this little kid was like, "You're a Backrooms monster." Like, what YouTube video did this guy watch? But anyways, Adam's like, "All right, man." So he takes his phone, calls up the number that he got from Ben's parents earlier. Ben's mom answers immediately and is like, "Hey, like, what's up? Is anything wrong?" Because, like, if a babysitter calls you and you're a parent, you're accepting that 1 second. Like, the second you see that notification, you're picking that up. And he basically goes on to say, "Hey, like, I need you guys to come back. I'm sorry. I know, like, your son has, like, picked up a butter knife and is chasing me around with it. He won't put it down for his safety and for mine. I just don't know how to handle this situation." And at this point, the mom is like, "Are you serious?" And Adam's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna prank call you, like, saying your son is trying to murk me, right? That's not an epic prank I'm gonna pull on you." I don't think he said all that, but, like, come on, dude. So the mom was like, "Oh, we'll be there right away." And, you know, he puts down the phone and Adam's like, "All right, Ben, your parents are coming back." And, you know, Ben's like a little bit less, like, Adam can almost know. They can almost kind of tell that Ben is a little bit less certain now, because he's like, "Well, my parents are definitely going to help me fight you because you're evil." So eventually, right, Ben's parents actually get there. They show up, you know, they knock on the door or whatever, because the door is locked, I think. And so they're knocking on the door, and Adams yells out to Ben, like, "You better go get it, because I know I'm not going out to go get it." And Ben's like, "Great, well, my parents are back, and they're going to help me stab you with these butter knives because you're a Backrooms monster." And Adam's like, "Okay, man, sure." So Adam, like, puts his ear up to the door, and he hears, you know, Ben walk downstairs, go, like, open up the door, and he hears yelling. He hears yelling from both of his parents, be like, "What are you?" Because I think the parents weren't 100%, like, they didn't believe it, man. They didn't know what to believe. But when they got back and they saw their son with, like, a knife in his hand, even if it was a butter knife, a knife nonetheless, right? They must have just gone ballistic. And Ben or Adam is hearing them yell, like, "What are you thinking? Like, that's your babysitter. He's here to keep you safe, and you're running around chasing him with a butter knife. Like, you could have got him hurt, and you could have gotten yourself hurt as well. In fact, you could have gotten both of you guys hurt. This is ridiculous. We just wanted one night out by ourselves." Kind of going off on this kid, which, like, Adam was like, "Dang, that's tough." But also, bro was trying to shank him, so he didn't feel that bad. Eventually, he hears a knock on the door. It was a very firm knock, so he knew it wasn't a little kid, right? And he hears what presumably was, like, or was, I should say, Ben's dad say, "Hey, we got Ben under control. You can come out now." He opens up the door, and what he sees shocks him. Ben's mom, and Ben's dad are all holding butter knives, and they all chant together, "Your time is up, Backrooms monster." And they take their butter knives and they plunge it. I'm playing. It's October. Thought I'd make it a little spooky for you guys. No, the dad was up there. He's like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. Like, our son, like, he's still very young, so he must have watched something scary on YouTube and thought that you were the scary thing he saw on YouTube. Like, we're so sorry about that." So yeah, what ended up happening was, you know, Adam was able to go home early, and the parents actually still paid him. They paid him the $50, probably just not to make a big stink out of what happened, but Adam was able to go home, watch Netflix, play video games, and he got $50 for it. So
click on the video
win.
on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.
From a kid who thinks the backroom monster is real and out to get him, to a kid who does a school presentation on the backrooms, these are the craziest kids who think the backrooms are actually real. So the subscriber has a little cousin, and his mom asked him, "Hey, can you go babysit the little cousin? Like, your aunt really needs it." So the subscriber's like, "All right, fine, whatever." So anyways, the day of babysitting the cousin, he goes over there, and the little cousin's mom, aka the subscriber's aunt, is like, "Thank you so much for getting here on such short notice. Like, my son, like, really needs someone to look after him because he's only like 8 or whatever. And I really need to go to this thing. Say thank you so much for doing it." And, you know, obviously the subscriber is like, "Yeah, whatever, anything for family. I got you, no problem." So anyways, he's sitting down, and he's sitting there with the little cousin, and the mom leaves, or the aunt leaves, and he's like, "Okay, so, like, what do you want to do today?" And the little cousin's like, I don't know. Like, I need you to be aware of something, though." So obviously the subscriber, when the little cousin says that, It's just like a little bit ominous. So he's like, yeah, what's up, buddy? And the little cousin's like, dude, the backroom monster is in the house. He's coming to get me. So obviously this, like, the little cousin probably watched a Backrooms video on YouTube and is like, oh my God, the Backrooms are actually real. And he probably read one of like the comments being like, so, since I have a PhD in astrophysics and I'm not a 9-year-old, since there are infinite realities, and there might be, because according to Newton's third, like, you know those comments you read where it's like trying to give an explanation for why the Backrooms is real? I'm like, bro, you're not an astrophysicist, bro. But anyways, he probably read one of those and got freaked out. So he was telling the subscriber all about how the Backrooms monster is real and that he saw him in his closet last night. And it's definitely not because every little kid sees monsters in their closets, but no, it's because the Backrooms are actually real and the monster's out to get him, obviously. And so sure enough, right, the subscriber's like, okay, you don't actually have to worry about that because the Backrooms aren't real. And the second he saw that, like the second he said that, the little cousin, aka, yeah, the little cousin, was looking at the subscriber, and then he started, like, he furrowed his eyebrows and gave him this suspicious look. So at first the subscriber had no idea why the kid was being so weird, but in retrospect, basically what happened here was that sorry, I just stuttered like 1,000 times. I've made like 15 videos in a row, so my brain is melting. But anyways, right, basically the little cousin got suspicious of the subscriber because in his mind he's like, oh, the subscriber says, you know, the Backrooms isn't real, therefore he's working with a Backrooms monster. No. So anyways, right, the little cousin's like, okay, I want to show you something really cool in the basement. It's a new toy I have. And the subscriber at this point has no idea that the little cousin now thinks that he's working with a Backrooms monster. So he's kind of just excited to do something. So he's like, okay, cool, whatever. And the little cousin's like, all right, walk over here. Opens up the basement door. The subscriber starts walking down the basement stairs, and slam! The door is slammed behind him, then click, the door is also locked at this point. So basically, right, the little cousin tricked the subscriber to walking into the basement, and it locks from the outside, which is not good for the subscriber, because now he's locked in the basement. And he's like, hey man, like, can you open it up, or do you want to come down here? And that's when the little cousin reveals basically what he believes. He's like, ha ha ha, you thought that you'd get away with it. And obviously the subscriber's like, well, bro, get away with what? He's like, I know that you're working for the Backrooms monster. Ever since you said he wasn't real, that's what the Backrooms monster wants me to think, so he can lower my guard and attack me. And the subscriber is just looking at him like, are you serious right now, bro? And sure enough, the subscriber's like, hey, no, that's not true. It isn't a real thing. And at this point, the little cousin's like, you really think I'm that stupid to fall for such an obvious trap? And, you know, at this point, the subscriber's like, no, dude, it's not a trap. You can trust me on this one. I'm telling you, like, just let me out of here. Because, like, at this point, you know, the subscriber's not trying to be trapped in the basement. He's just not trying to go out like that. And sure enough, right, the little cousin's like, nope. I know for a fact you're working with the Backrooms monster, and you will be stuck in there forever. I will never let you out, and my parents will agree with me, because I'm going to tell them all about the Backrooms and how you're working with the Backrooms monster when they get back in an hour. So basically what the subscriber does is he just kind of takes out his phone and just watches YouTube videos, probably watching the Pugs YouTube channel. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, he's just kind of like waiting there for an hour, and it's kind of dumb because he didn't even think to like text it's not dumb. He could have texted the mother of the kid he was trying to babysit, and in all retrospect, he probably should have, because now the kid is free to run around in the house without supervision. But basically, at the time, he was like, like, I don't really want to like bother them, and like at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. So sure enough, the aunt gets back, and he hears the door open up, and basically the aunt's like, oh, where's your cousin? He says like to the little cousin. The little cousin's like, oh. So, Mom, there's something called the Backrooms, and the Backrooms has a scary monster, and basically, my cousin is working with a scary monster to get me, so I locked him in the basement. And I think the little cousin actually thought that this would be a good enough explanation for the mom to be like, oh, you're so right, let's lock him in there forever. But immediately, the mom's like, what? So the door opens up, and the subscriber's aunt is like, I am so sorry. And yeah, so she lets him go. And apparently the little cousin is in trouble, and his parents have to explain to him that no, in fact, the backrooms are not actually real. So this next kid is actually crazier than the last one, which I know is pretty hard to believe, but yeah. So anyways, this all happened one day in school. So the subscriber was walking down the hallway when this kid who he didn't really talk to ran up to him and stopped the subscriber and his friends. So basically the subscriber was with his friends, and we're going to call one of his friends Ben. That's important for later. So anyways, right, the subscriber is walking with his friends when he's stopped by this random kid. And this kid comes up to him and says, "Guys, I need to warn you about something." And if a random kid comes up to me and screams, "I need to warn you about something," even if he, I don't know, it seems a little weird, I'm going to listen. I'm not going to be like, "Oh, I'm not going to listen to you," and then something terrible might happen. If, it could have been all, prevented if, I listened to this kid's warning. So I'm like, so the subscriber's like, "Yeah, okay, what's good?" And the kid's like, "Guys, you see that classroom right there?" And he points to like a door, and it's like an empty classroom or whatever. He says, "Guys, that is a portal into the back rooms. You will no-clip into the back rooms and never be seen from again if you go through that door." So Ben looks at the subscriber, and the subscriber looks at Ben, and they kind of look at each other like, okay, dude, sure. And sure enough, right, the subscriber's like, "Are you sure? Like, what makes you think that?" And the kid, the backrooms kid, is like, "Dude, I'm telling you, I was like doing some research online, doing my own independent research." Whenever someone says I did my own research, probably means they went to the sketchiest website on planet Earth. But anyways, right, this kid goes on to say, "Yes, guys, the backrooms are real. You're going to get and I was doing some research, and basically I saw the janitor go into that room, and he didn't come out for a full 5 minutes. So I ran away very quickly so I didn't get sucked in." And immediately the subscriber is kind of looking at his friend to be like, "Bro really just said I ran away after 5 minutes because I was convinced that he got sucked in. Do you really not think the janitor was cleaning in there, and maybe cleaning in the room took more than 5 minutes? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm the crazy one here, but part of me really does think that, I don't know, the janitor probably left that room after 10 minutes. But sure enough, right, the subscriber, or the backrooms kid, not the subscriber, is all like, "Guys, but you cannot go in there. You need to promise me that you're not going to go in there, because I can't lose you guys, man. I can't lose you." And like the subscriber doesn't really know this kid, but he's like, okay. But the subscriber's friend Ben was about to do a little bit of trolling. He was about to have a little bit of fun with this kid, which you guys might think, "Oh, maybe it's not ethical. This kid is just trying to be nice. He's delusional, whatever," right? The subscriber's friend Ben decides to pull a prank. And he's like, "Oh man, okay, thank you." And the Ben goes on to say, "Okay, man, don't worry. I won't go into that room." And Ben immediately starts to walk towards that room. And the backrooms kid is like, "No, Ben, no, Ben, that's the backrooms room. Ben, no, Ben, Ben, no." And sure enough, Ben walks into the room and pretends to get sucked in. He's like, "No." Ben grabs onto the door and pretends to be being dragged in. He's like, "No, no, the back rooms, they're coming for me." And then he slams the door behind him as if he got slammed in there. And you hear screaming "No." So obviously, right, Ben is playing around, and the subscriber knows this. But he looks over at the backrooms kid, and the backrooms kid is literally on his knees, "No, we lost another one. No, this world is so cruel and unfair." And look, the subscriber admits he was being a little bit of a jerk right here. He was being a little bit of an ass, but at the end of the day, the subscriber couldn't help himself. He seriously couldn't help himself. Because sure enough, the door opened again, and it was Ben opening the door but not being seen. So it looks like the door opened up again just to trap another person into the back rooms forever. But so sure enough, right, the subscriber goes behind the backrooms kid and legit starts pushing him towards the door. And the kid's like, dude, what are you doing? Dude, no. Dude, no. Dude, no. Subscriber, don't do this. The backrooms monster have just put a curse on you. They're controlling your mind. You can break free, man. You can break free. You don't need to be controlled by the backrooms monster. Dude, no. And sure enough, the subscriber is pushing him closer and closer to the door. And the kid's like, "No, man, no, please don't do this. Subscriber, I know you're still in there. I know the backrooms monster is currently controlling your brain, but I know you're still in there, man. push, man, push. You got to push for it. You got to reach in deep. I know that you're in there, man. I know that you're in there. Just keep pushing, keep pushing. You're like, no, no. And sure enough, the subscriber like legitimately pushes the Backrooms kid into this room. And this kid is screaming as he falls in. But you know what happens? Nothing. Because this is not a portal to the Backrooms, dude. This is literally just an empty classroom. So like the Backrooms kid is all curled up in a ball with his eyes closed, like, ah. And then eventually he stops screaming and he opens up his eyes and he looks around and he sees the subscriber just looking at him and he sees Ben just looking at him. And the kid's like, oh, so this does not seem to be a portal to the Backrooms, but it could have been. And Ben and the subscriber just looking at him. He's like, okay, you know what? Thank you guys so much for helping me figure out that this is not a portal to the Backrooms. Your service has been noted. Yeah. This final kid is probably the craziest Backrooms kid ever. If you thought this last kid was pretty delusional, you're not even ready for this one. So anyways, right, there's a kid who goes in class, and the subscribers in this class, and they have a class where they have to do a presentation on dinosaurs. Not the Backrooms, dinosaurs. So anyways, right, the subscriber goes up to the front of the class, and he does his little presentation thing or whatever. And sure enough, right, he sits back down, and the Backrooms kid walks up to do his presentation. And you might be thinking, okay, how on earth is this kid going to fit the Backrooms into a presentation on dinosaurs? That must be pretty hard. You would be correct. If the Backrooms kid was actually going to go up and do a presentation on a dinosaur, it would be quite difficult to fit the Backrooms into it. You guys might be thinking, oh, maybe he did the Backrooms monster as a dinosaur? No. This kid literally goes up there and he does a presentation. The first slide, he clicks into it, says the Backrooms. And immediately the teacher is like, what? So the teacher's looking at this kid who's supposed to be doing a presentation on his favorite dinosaur. And the first slide says the Backrooms. And I think the teacher must be thinking this is some typo, or he spelled a, pterodactyl wrong and it auto-corrected to the Backrooms or something. Because the teacher lets him keep on going. And the subscriber is sitting there, and he's just looking at this kid. And the whole class is watching as this kid is about to go through a presentation on the Backrooms. So the Backrooms kid flips to the first slide. He's like, guys, I know this isn't a presentation on dinosaurs, but I need to inform you. Trust me, you need to know the truth about the Backrooms. I am risking getting a bad grade in this class to give you guys vital information, so you should be thanking me right now. And he starts to go on to say, okay, guys, so the Backrooms is basically this area where you no-clip into, and it's really, really dangerous. And immediately the teacher is kind of like, whoa, chill out there. Whoa, what's going on here? And the kid's like, teacher, there's no time for this. We're wasting time. They need to know about the Backrooms and the truth. And the teacher's like, this is supposed to be a presentation on your favorite dinosaur. Well, what are these Backrooms? And the kid's like, look, dinosaurs are gone, irrelevant, dead, extinct, boom, history, lame. This is now, and this is super important, teacher. And he's just looking at the teacher, kind of looking at him like, dude, this is so important. And the teacher's like, I'm sorry, you're supposed to be doing a presentation on on a dinosaur, not these Backrooms. You're going to have to sit down, and I will be generous enough to allow you to redo your presentation tomorrow, but don't push it. Look, the teacher is actually being super chill here, because I feel like most teachers would be like, oh, you completely ignored my rules, and you decided to do a presentation on some random sci-fi thing that you like? No. You're going to get a failing grade on this because you completely ignored the assignment rules and did what you wanted. This teacher was cool enough to be like, I'm going to allow you to make a new presentation and give it tomorrow. But the thing is, right, the Backrooms kid was not willing to back down. He believed that he was right and everyone else was wrong. So he starts arguing with the teacher. He's like, teacher, you should be grateful that I'm informing your ignorant students about a really dangerous situation that they could get themselves into. And the teacher's looking at him. And the teacher's like, bro, what are you even saying right now? He's like, what? So the kid starts going on with his presentation. He starts doing it as quickly as possible. He's like, okay, guys, so basically there's these things in the Backrooms called the Backrooms monster. Clicks to the next slide. On the next slide is like a photo, like a screenshot of like some recreation of the Backrooms monster from like that one video that went viral. He's like, these monsters will roam around. If you see them, they're very quick, they're very dangerous. And if you find yourself into the Backrooms, you have to start leaving markers around. And by the way, like, and he clicks to the next slide, a real good way to figure out if like something is a portal to the Backrooms is you can always throw an item, and if it no clips out of reality, then you know it's a portal to the Backrooms. And he keeps clicking through the slides, and that's when the teacher goes over to the kid's like laptop and unplugs it from the HDMI cord, which no longer screen shares, or it wasn't screen sharing, it was like attached to a projector or something. So the kid's like, teacher, what are you doing right now? I'm trying to save your students from dying, man. Why can't you understand? And the teacher's like, you're doing a presentation on some video game sci-fi something, dude. Like, this is a presentation about dinosaurs. And the whole class is real silent right now because they just don't know how to interpret what is going on. Because, like, I don't know, bro. I would be a little weirded out, too, if some kid was like, guys, the Backrooms, watch it. Like, bro, what? So sure enough, right, the teacher and this kid have this kind of argument over the kid being like, I'm giving them important information and you want them to perish. And the teacher's like, what? So sure enough, the kid is like, you know what? Let me continue or I'm going to leave this class. And the teacher looks at him and he's like, what? Yeah, okay, leave the class then. It's always funny when people give ultimatums of like, let me do what I want or else I'm going to leave. And it's like, okay, leave then, bro. What? So the kid didn't expect this. He's like, no, I'm going to keep telling them, right? So he starts shouting facts about the Backrooms, and the teacher is like slowly pushing him out of the classroom. He's like, watch out, don't no clip out of reality, guys, no. And he shuts the door behind him. And the teacher's like, okay, guys, that was a little unexpected. Hopefully we will be hearing his presentation about actual dinosaurs tomorrow if he doesn't want to fail this class. And the whole class is real quiet because, I don't know. How would you react to some kid screaming that the Backrooms are real? I don't know how I would. I'd probably react the same way. Just like, huh?
Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it.
Today we got a story about this kid who made his entire presentation about the Backrooms, even though it was very explicitly said that the presentation had to be on something that, you know, a real life thing. It was pretty awkward. Subscribe if you're new. And let's call today's subscriber who submitted this story. Let's call him Adam. So anyways, right, Adam was at his cousin's place. And Adam's cousin was, I don't know, he was in 3rd grade or something. He was a young guy. And Adam was staying over at his cousin's place with his aunt and uncle. I don't totally know why. It might have been part of some kind of vacation or some kind of trip, or for some reason he was there. And it also happened to be that it was Parents' Day at Adam's cousin's school. You know what? We're going to call Adam's cousin Ben, because that's the name I use always. And also it's going to be easier than me saying Adam's cousins, whatever, right? So Ben, right? So Ben, it was Parents' Day at his school. And since Adam was at the house, Ben's parents were like, hey, Adam, do you want to just come with us? Like, we're going to be gone for the entire day. You're not really going to have a car around here. And you can't really do anything. Do you want to just come in? And Adam was like, yeah, sure, whatever. That sounds fun. So sure enough, right, they're getting in the car the morning of Parents' Day. And Ben has this little kind of like box with him. And Adam's like, oh, man, like, what's in the box? He's like, well, you can't see it now. And Adam's like, all right, Ben, don't worry about it. I was just wondering. And Ben's like, no, it's okay. You're going to see it later today. And Adam's like, what do you mean I'm going to see it later today? And Ben's like, well, since it's Parents' Day, we're having a whole presentation about our favorite places on Earth in front of everyone, and I just want to make it a big surprise for you, and I don't want you to see it. And Adam's like, all right, that sounds fair enough, and it did sound fair enough. And so sure enough, right, they get to the school, and, Adam, Ben's parents, and Ben, they go around to Ben's classes. They go to PE class. It's a pretty standard Parents' Day. I don't know if you guys had Parents' Day at your school, but more or less that just means like, the parents or relatives come to the school and see what they, their kid or grandkid or I don't know, their niece or whoever, right? What they're doing at the school. And it was fun enough. It was fair enough. And this was all until, Jeff was, not Jeff, sorry, that was the name from the last dude in the story. And this was when Adam, it was Ben's class, and it was time for the Ben's presentation. And Adam, Ben's parents, and Ben were all sitting there. And sure enough, right, Adam is like looking around. The kids are going up and they're doing presentations. They're doing presentations on my favorite place on planet Earth is my backyard because I love nature and whatever. Some kids are like, I love California. I go there to see my uncle. I love the beach. I love to be there. Some people are like, I love Antarctica because it is cold like ice, like my soul. I don't know if anyone did that. But anyways, right, so Adam was actually kind of interested. All right, where's my little cousin Ben's favorite place? And he was in Adam's head, he was like, oh, maybe it's his backyard, or oh, maybe it's that park he always loves to go to, or maybe it's his room because he likes video games or something. I don't know. So anyways, it was finally, the teacher was going down the line. It's like, all right, Ben, it's time for you. So Ben got up and he had a little poster board. That was the thing he was hiding from everyone because he kind of folded it inwards. And he gets up and he stands up in front of the entire class, full of all of his classmates and his classmates' parents and relatives. And he gets up there and there's a desk next to him. The desk is that you can put anything you brought with you for your presentation on there. For example, the kid who did a presentation on his backyard, he brought some pine cones from the tree that dropped them. And so Ben has this whole poster board, and the teacher is kind of like, oh, you brought a poster board, like you went above and beyond, thank you very much, like that's so nice. And so Ben unfolds the poster board, and in big letters it says the Backrooms, and it has photos printed out from the internet of random screenshots of that very viral video from Kane Pixels about the Backrooms. For you guys who don't know, the Backrooms are an internet urban legend of like basically clip out of reality, which is a video game term. You basically phase out of reality or this base reality into like secret rooms that exist in another dimension, and there's creatures there. The videos are very interesting. Kane Pixels did an incredible job just to film like this. The cinematography is insane on that video if you haven't seen it already. But sure enough, right, in big letters it says the Backrooms. And at that point, Adam is like, oh no. Because the thing is, this wasn't do a presentation on anything. It was choose a place that exists, your favorite place, and make a presentation on it. And spoiler, the Backrooms don't exist, guys. I mean, for all I know, I'm just gonna assume that they don't look. If they do exist, I'm gonna assume that they don't look like they do in the in the Kane Pixels video. Maybe that was a real video, guys. Who knows? But sure enough, Adam was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna fail this. Like, oh God, this is not good." And so sure enough, Adam's little brother, Ben, it's not his cousin, Ben goes up there and says, so today I will be talking about my favorite place on planet Earth, the Backrooms. And the whole class kind of looks at it, or the parents are kind of like, what? And all the other classmates are like, ooh, the Backrooms, it's so interesting. I knew that they were real. And Ben goes on to say, like, yes, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Backrooms. And he points to a photo of the monster in the video. He's like, if you're in the Backrooms and you see this monster, run away. He is very bad. And then he points to a photo of like a bunch of offices, like, the Backrooms with like the big yellow light offices that keep going on forever. He's like, this is the Backrooms. It is my favorite place ever. Thank you guys very much. The presentation was literally like 45 seconds. And everyone very politely claps. They're like, okay, nice. And the teacher's like, okay, Ben, very nice. Thank you. And sure enough, they're walking along, and Ben goes back, sits down, and he turns around. He's like, what do you guys think about the presentation? And Adam was like, it was great. Like, I really enjoyed it. I like the visual aids. And Ben's parents were like, yeah, this was good, Ben. This was really good. And Ben was like, oh, sweet, thanks. And sure enough, the other presentations go on. And none of the other presentations were on mythical lands or lands that just didn't exist on planet Earth. So Adam started to get kind of worried. He was a little worried for his cousin because he wanted his cousin to do well. Real quick, comment Backrooms or the Backrooms in the comment section right now if you made it this far into the video, just to see. I just want to see how many people made it this far. And also, if you want to help the channel out, go ahead and watch another video after this one. By binge watching or chain viewing these videos, it really boosts me in the algorithm. And since I took a break recently, I really would appreciate it, and thank you. Anyways, right, Adam was, for the rest of that class, was kind of just sitting there and was like, oh God, like, he's going to get a bad grade. Like, it's my fault. I should have figured out what he was doing beforehand and told him not to do that. I should have been the bigger, older cousin and, went in there and fixed things, and it's my fault. Adam was really beating himself up for letting his little cousin, go and do a presentation on the Backrooms, which, first of all, Adam, like, bro, you weren't there, and also when you tried to figure it out, like right as they were getting into the car, he wouldn't let you see. Like, you can't feel too bad about that. But anyways, Adam felt bad. He had a big heart or whatever. And sure enough, right, Adam, once the class ends, the bell rings, and the teacher's like, all right, guys, you will be going over to, I don't know, station 5 on your little sheet. They gave out a sheet of paper for all the parents to have to see, all right, station 3 is in this place, and it's going to be the arts class or whatever, right? So everyone starts walking out, and Adam goes to Ben's parents and says, hey, like, I'm going to catch up with you. I know where you guys are going. I have a sheet myself. I just need to go to the bathroom or something, right? And so Adam waits till everyone leaves, and the teacher's there, and he walks up to the teacher, and the teacher's like, hi there, like, can I help you? And Adam's like, hey, I'm Ben's older cousin. Like, I just wanted to say that, Ben is such a great kid. He really tries really hard. I know he put a lot of work into the presentation, but I also know that, the presentation wasn't really within the bounds of, what the class is supposed to be on. And I just want you to, I just wanted to know if you could go easy on him, if you're going to give him a bad grade, or if you have to give him a bad grade, at least give him some feedback or tell him he did a good job, man. And the teacher looks at him and is like, why do you think I'm going to give Ben a bad grade? It was a great presentation. And Adam's like, well, I mean, the parameters of the presentation were very clearly, you had to do something that really existed and you had to do a presentation. And the teacher looks at Adam and is like, Adam, those are kind of loose boundaries. What I care about is that, the kids put a lot of effort into the presentation, and the presentation, I didn't really care about the material. What really mattered was that they that they stood up in front of all their peers and all these strangers / their parents and were brave enough to do a presentation. That's all I wanted. And your cousin, Ben, did a fantastic job and will be getting great marks for it. So Adam was like, oh, well, thank you very much. And, he was like, the teacher was like, well, you can't thank me, thank Ben.
Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.
Today we got a story of a group of kids in the subscribers class who believe that the Backrooms are real, and they decide to make an entire cult around it. It's a pretty crazy story, so strap in, subscribe if you like stories, and let's call today's subscriber Declan. So in Declan's class, there was a group of kids that all believed that the Backrooms are real. If you don't know, the Backrooms are an internet legend that are kind of about like it's like a separate multiverse that you can no-clip out of, and it's like an endless series of rooms, kind of looking like an old abandoned office, and it's not real. I mean, who knows, but let's be honest, guys, I really do not believe it is real, and it's an internet legend. However, it's a very popular internet legend that regained a lot of popularity recently, and this is a very recent story. So anyways, a group of kids in Declan's class all believe that the Backrooms are real, so they decided that they were going to start the Backrooms cult. So anyways, right, Declan only knew about this because his friend was telling him about this like crazy group of kids that was starting a weird cult around the Backrooms or something. So Declan's like, all right, man, that's kind of weird. But anyways, this story all happens one day when Declan was just, I don't know if he was walking to class, walking from class. For some reason, he was walking alone. And a kid comes up to him. He says, hey. And Declan's like, hey, like, I don't think I know you, but what's up, man? He's like, hey, do you believe in the Backrooms? And Declan's like, what? And the kid says, I'll repeat myself. Do you believe in the Backrooms? And Declan's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, that's a meme on the internet. And the kid's like, I'll give you one more chance to reconsider your words. And Declan's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, it's a joke on the internet. The Backrooms are real. No, they're not. No, they're not. Spoiler, guys, they're not real. I don't know how to break it to you. They're not real. And Declan was kind of going off, being like, oh, yeah, the Backrooms are fake, lol, whatever. I don't know, maybe he was in a bad mood, maybe he just wanted to troll this kid, but for some reason, he was just completely going off, right? And the kid is like, interesting response. The Backrooms cult has noticed. And the kid like mysteriously just like disappears as quickly as possible. And Declan is like, oh boy. Because the thing is, right, Declan, he doesn't even know why he was going off on this kid. But he just realized that he has officially made the Backrooms cult very angry. And look, Declan was not afraid of a bunch of like kids being like, "Ooh, we're the Backrooms cult. Be afraid of us. Be scared." But at the same time, Declan is still not a fan of nonsense. He's not trying to deal with any BS that they're about to pull. And Declan is very, very, very certain that they're about to pull some BS, man. They're about to pull some crazy stuff out of their butt. So Declan is not very happy right now. He's like, oh my God, I just made the Backrooms cult mad. Because he also heard from his friend that the Backrooms cult does not like it when other people say that the Backrooms are fake. And in fact, one of their missions is to spread the good word of the Backrooms. I'm not even kidding. That was verbatim what I was told on Instagram. By the way, guys, submit stories to my Instagram. I'm also going to make an email very, very soon. Give me a second. I'm sorry. I know it's taken a while. But anyways, right. So, Declan was kind of thinking, oh man, well, these kids are going to be annoying to me now. And for an entire week, like an entire 7 days, he heard nothing from any of them. He actually completely forgot about the Backrooms cult entirely. This is when, on the 8th day, the first thing happened. And it all started off like a normal day in school. Declan is dropped off by his mom. His mom's like, have a great day at school, honey, whatever. Walks off into school. And before like his first class, he goes to his locker because, he like drops off something there or just goes there. I don't know why, but he starts off his day going to his locker. And he goes to his locker and he notices that there is he opens it up to put something in there, maybe like gym clothes or something. And he notices that there's a piece of paper folded up. And he's like, oh, God. And he looks on the front of the piece of paper, and it says TBC. And, at first Declan is like, what? Is that like a sandwich or something? And then he realizes, oh, the Backrooms cult. Oh, my God, bro. These kids, I thought they forgot about me. So anyways, right, Declan opens up this letter, and it basically says, this is an official notice that the Backrooms cult has acknowledged your crimes against the Backrooms. Your punishment will commence starting today. May you never have, say your Backrooms, may you never have the Backrooms name in vain again, or something like that. And Declan is like, all right, well, maybe this is an empty threat. Maybe this is the only thing they're going to do. Unfortunately for Declan, it gets really creepy and weird. And these strange kids that made the Backroom cult, the thing is, they're not kidding around, because Declan kind of thinks when he reads this letter, he's like, yeah, these kids are definitely bluffing. They're definitely doing this all for show. This is super cringe, but also very annoying. But no, they're very weird, and you're going to see the strange things that they do. Real quick comment, Backrooms or the Backrooms down below in the comment section, either works. I'm going to try and heart as many comments I possibly can that say that, as it's the secret word of the day. And I want to say a little bit of appreciation for the people who watch my videos. And also, if you really want to support the channel, if you really want to give me that juicy watch time that boosts me in the algorithm, you are beautiful. Thank you very much. Go binge watch my videos. You can go watch them in a playlist or just watch a bunch of them. There's some that are recommended after this one. Let me know in the comments if you binge watch the videos. I know I say this every single video, but it legitimately helps me out so much, and I'm super appreciative. I'm stalling too much. Anyways, back to the story. So remember, Declan just received a letter in his locker that says the Backrooms cult has realized your transgressions against the Backrooms. Your sins will be punished. And Declan thought that they were bluffing, but he was a little bit scared of the fact that they said, your sins will be punished, or whatever, right? Because that's a little sketch, right? So the entire day goes by, and the only weird thing that happens that isn't really that weird is in one of his classes, specifically his math class, there's a kid that he thinks is in the Backrooms cult, but he's also not 100% sure, because it's not like they have a public Facebook page welcomes to the Backrooms cult or something like that. It's a little bit it's hard to know who's in the Backrooms cult. Besides, he only knows really the person who came up to him, and he's suspicious of 2 other people. But there's a kid in Declan's class, in his math class, that he believes is in the Backrooms cult, but he doesn't know. And this kid in his math class doesn't really do anything to Declan, but Declan just feels that someone's watching him, and he turns around, and sure enough, this random kid is staring at Declan and then quickly looks away. However, Declan is kind of paranoid for the rest of the class, and he's kind of just like constantly like looking back and like, oh my God, is someone looking at me? Is this kid looking at me? But Declan never catches this kid staring at him again. So he just feels weird because he doesn't know if this kid is like legitimately, I don't know, like if this kid is legitimately in the Backrooms cult coming for him, or if he's just randomly was looking at him. Because I randomly stare at people in class. It's kind of weird, but I'm just spacing out, man. I'm like, oh shoot, my fault. But things really get weird in just a second, because at the end of the day, Declan kind of thinks, all right, well, nothing's really happening, so there's nothing really for me to be scared of, right? And Declan is walking home from school. So his parents drop him off, but since his parents get out from work much later than the school, gets out, and he doesn't live that far away, Declan walks back. And so Declan is walking back from school, and he's noticing that there is another kid walking back as well, and he's on the other side of the sidewalk. But the weird thing is, Declan walks this route every single day. And the thing is, no other kid ever walks this route. Like, legitimately, no other kid has ever walked this route with him at this time. He occasionally sees a biker, or he's seen a kid once or twice, but they're not walking back his route. And Declan gets more and more sketched out when he looks behind him briefly, and he sees another kid. Not just one walking on the other side of him, but one walking directly behind him. Declan's heart begins to race. He's starting to freak out a little bit. And he's just like, all right, Declan, you just got to get home. These are either this is a coincidence or it's a bunch of weirdos in the Backrooms cult. Like, they're actually not a problem. At least he's telling himself this. So he walks all the way back. And the weird thing is, right, Declan lives decently far out, and he doesn't really know anyone else that goes to a school in his neighborhood or his immediate neighborhood. Yeah, someone who's like a 2-minute walk, but not someone who lives like on a stretch. And he keeps walking. And Declan's stretch of houses is at like the very end of the neighborhood before it kind of goes into like a highway that goes to a city or whatever. And these kids, they keep walking. So they kind of walk by the majority of houses. And Declan at this point is like, I almost know for a fact that these kids do not live in any of the houses I'm about to pass. And then beyond my houses is legitimately the highway. Like, there's not a shot that these kids are like living on the highway, man. Like, that's just not a thing. So Declan is just like kind of freaked out. And these kids aren't like necessarily looking at Declan. They're looking at their phones. They're listening to music. They're kind of looking around. But they're most definitely following him because all of a sudden a third one appears pretty far in the back. But Declan's like, oh my God. And the thing that gives it away is he looks back and he looks at the third one and he sees something on their shirt and he can't figure out what it is. And this is when he realizes that, like, he takes out his phone and he pretends to take a Snapchat. But what he actually does is he takes a Snapchat of the other person in the background. And, while it's pretty blurry quality, he sees this other person has a hoodie. And what do you think is on the hoodie? TBC. It's like a handmade hoodie. Not handmade, but it's like ordered at one of those, like, make your own hoodie websites or whatever. And this kid is legitimately being so blatant wearing a Backrooms cult hoodie. Like, it's at this point, Declan's like, all right, well, he's like, okay, this is super weird, but like, how scary actually is this? It's a bunch of like little Fortnite guys, like a little bunch of Fortnite boys following me. And one of them has like a really lame, like the Backrooms cult hoodie on. So Declan like stops freaking out a little bit, even though it was kind of scary for a second, right? So anyways, right, Declan eventually gets to his house and he kind of like speed walks into his front yard, walks in and he gets into his house and he looks out the window, tries to be discreet about it and is pretty discreet about it. He looks out the window and he sees that all the kids that were following him, they simply just like walk by his house. However, Declan's sneaking suspicion was almost confirmed correct. I mean, besides the kid who wore the Backrooms cult like hoodie, he saw that all the kids, instead of continuing to walk by because they would literally have to walk into a highway, all congregated. Like, they all came together and they all started staring at Declan's house. And Declan's like, oh my God, what? And anyways, right, they all kind of look at each other and they all start pointing at his house and then they all walk away together. And Declan's like, all right, this is getting weird, even though these are just some like little Fortnite boys. Like, I don't really care, bro. Like, look, these kids are not that intimidating, but what they're doing is weird. So anyways, right, he kind of tells his mom, he's like, hey, like, there's a group of kids at my school that say that this internet meme is real, and I said it's fake, and then they have a little group behind it. They call themselves the Backrooms cult, and, they asked me if I thought the Backrooms were real, and I told them no, and I wasn't the nicest about it, but, like, whatever, that's kind of irrelevant.
but they've been like, they sent me a letter in my locker saying that I'm going to have to pay consequences. And they followed me back home. And they're like, they followed you. And his mom's like, Declan, they followed you back home. He's like, Mom, it's very weird. But like, I was noticing people were walking all the way down to our street, which, is at the very end before a highway. And I didn't recognize any of the kids from being in the neighborhood. And one of them is even wearing a Backrooms cult hoodie, which, he shows her the photo. And his mom's like, well, what if that's a logo for something else? And Declan's like, well, maybe, but no, because of this. He goes into his backpack and he takes out the letter that is stamped with TBC, right? So she's like, oh my God, like that's the exact same format and everything. He's like, yeah, so just a little, they were also looking at our house and pointing. It's pretty weird. I don't know these kids. I just want you to be aware. And Declan's mom like, all right, well, I'm actually going to call the school because this is really strange. And so sure enough, right, Declan is kind of just in his room playing Minecraft or Fortnite or I don't know, just not doing homework, man. He's just chilling. He's having a good time. And he just gets a weird feeling, kind of a bit of like a chill up his spine or whatever. He's just like, okay. And for some reason, he's disinclined to like get up from his chair, kind of like, I don't know, take a break between games. And he walks by his window and something catches in the corner of his eye. And he's just like, hey. And he goes back and he looks at the window and he's just like, huh, because he looks out and there's a bunch of kids standing in his backyard, all wearing the Backrooms. So TBC, sorry. I'm sorry if I kind of broke the atmosphere, but a bunch of kids wearing TBC sweatshirts, all because it's like TBC is in white and the rest of the hoodie is black, and they have their hoods on and they're all looking up and they're just like ominously staring into his window. And he's like, oh my God. So he quickly takes a video of it and kind of zooms in on their faces a little bit. Yeah, they had their hoodies up, but at the end of the day, you could still see their faces pretty well, bro. They weren't hiding anything, if we're being honest. And so he runs downstairs. He's like, Mom, look in the yard. And his mom's like, oh my God, do you know those kids? He's like, look at their hoodies. And she's like, oh my God. And his mom's like, all right, I already sent an email to your school, but I'm sending a follow-up. Like, do you have proof of this? And he's like, yeah, I took a video. I'll send it to you. And then Declan takes another video, zooming in on their faces, showing everything. And then he notices all the kids like sprint out of his yard quickly. And I think like they noticed that he saw them and they just wanted to intimidate him. So after that, they ran away. So he's super weirded out. Declan, calls up a bunch of his friends who go to his school. And he especially calls up the one who's like told him about the Backrooms cult. He explains the entire story that I just told you. And all of his friends are like, yeah, man, it's super weird. And he's also like, one of his friends is like, dude, like the exact same thing happened to me. And he's like, I was talking to other people and apparently it's happened to other people too. They've been going up to random people. And if you say that you don't believe in the Backrooms, they've been creepily stalking you in their hoodies. It is the weirdest thing ever. So Declan is just like, oh my God, this isn't like a singular thing. So Declan's mom gets on Facebook, posts the findings, and her post like reaches all these parents that go to his school. And she gets all these replies from parents saying, yes, these weird kids have been stalking my son as well. They've been stalking my daughter. It's like very creepy. It's very strange. And, Declan's mom was like, well, I've reported them to the school. And they were like, yeah, we reported them too. Did you get faces? And they said, yeah, we got pretty clear faces in the video. And so sure enough, right, the next day, Declan goes in and everyone's talking. And this is really unusual because when Declan walked into class, it's normally kind of silent if people are cracking a few jokes, but people were buzzing. And, he sits by his friend. He's like, dude, what's going on? Did something happen? And the guy, because like this friend in his class, he did tell about what happened the day before. He said, yeah, the backroom cult, like all those kids in it, they all got suspended for a week. And Declan's like, bro, what? He's like, yeah, apparently they were like, yeah, they were stalking a ton of different kids and the school got so many reports and these kids were kind of stupid. Yeah, they showed up and like they didn't even bother hiding their faces. And, at this point, right, they sent the videos to the school and the school, they know who goes to the school, right? So they just looked at the faces and said, oh, we know all the kids. And yeah, everyone in the Backrooms cult got suspended. And I heard that like their suspension was conditional, like they said that like the stalking was like a really, really bad offense. And even if they didn't mean anything for it, it was really bad. And that they're getting suspended for a week. But if they catch any word of like any other actions related to the Backrooms cult, stalking wise or not, like even just like, oh, we're going to have a meeting, that they would all be expelled, like all of them. Like it was like one of the weirdest punishments that like, Declan's friend has ever heard. He's like, yeah, if one of them decides to have a meeting, like they're all getting done. It is crazy. The school is not having it. But they didn't straight up expel them all for some reason. And Declan's just sitting there like, wow, all of that because you believed in the Backrooms, bro.
Click on
That's
the video on
crazy.
screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it. Today we got a pretty goofy story of this kid who thinks that his dog is talking Ben. Yes. No. And not only that, but when his dog disappears one day, he thinks that his dog didn't just simply run away, but he thinks that his dog no-clipped into the Backrooms. This kid has seriously been on the internet way too much. Leave a like in the video to claim your free nothing, and let's call today's subscriber. Let's call her Murphy. So anyways, right, Murphy has a cousin. We're just going to call her Murphy's cousin, right? So anyways, right, this all happened one day, or this story started one day when, you know, Murphy was, like, hanging out with her cousin. Her cousin was kind of much younger than her. Murphy was in, like, 8th grade. Her cousin was in, like, 2nd grade. So her parents, like, they decided to, you know, go see, like, I don't know, like, go see their cousins, go, like, hang out with them, whatever, right? And they live pretty close, so it was just kind of like a walk away. Anyways, right, you know, Murphy was there. She's just, you know, talking to her little cousin, and her little cousin, you know, had a dog. And this dog, we're going to call him Ben. Nah, we're not going to give the dog a name, but if we would have called him Ben. And anyways, Murphy's kind of just sitting there and chilling, hanging out, right? And, you know, her cousin comes up to her and says, like, you know that, like, my dog is, like, talking Ben. And Murphy's like, what does that even mean? And her little cousin was like, well, I was on the internet and I was seeing this dog, and it looked my dog like my dog, and my dog, it was talking to me. And Murphy's like, dude, what do you mean your dog was talking to you? And the cousin was like, oh, yeah, I was asking him questions, and he was giving me answers. It was crazy. And Murphy's like, okay, like the thing is, right, Murphy's not going to pop the bubble of her little cousin. Like, okay, whatever, he believes something goofy. Okay, I'm sure the dog isn't actually talking to him, or at least I'm going to believe that the dog isn't actually talking to him. I don't know, man. Maybe the dog actually is pulling a Martha Speaks or something and is actually talking to, like, her cousin. Maybe. There's, like, a chance. No, there's no chance. The dog is not talking to her cousin. But Murphy's like, okay, like, your dog is talking Ben, I guess. Like, that's totally cool. And the cousin's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. My dog's pretty famous. Everyone online's talking about talking Ben. And at this point, right, you know, Murphy's like, yeah, your dog is pretty famous. All right, that's pretty cool. And anyways, right, you know, so she eventually goes back home, doesn't think anything of it. And then her mom calls her downstairs, and she's like, Murphy, like, I know we just saw your cousin a couple days ago, and because, like, it was kind of like a trip to go see them, because, like, you got to go see your family. You got to go, like, even if it's not fun, you got to go see them sometimes. And anyways, right, you know, Murphy's mom's like, I know we just saw them, like, a couple days ago, but, you know, your cousin's dog is lost. You know, his mom just reached out to me saying that, like, they woke up one day and the dog was gone, and, like, they don't know what to do, and, like, they need as many people as they can to help go search the neighborhood for the dog. So Murphy's kind of like, all right, like, whatever, like, not totally how I want to spend my Saturday, but, you know, it's their dog, and, you know, that's probably pretty distressing for them. Sure, whatever, I'll go search it for them. That's fine, that's totally okay. If roles were reversed, I'd wish they'd do the same for me. So, right, they get to the cousin's house, and the cousin's mom, like, looks at Murphy's mom and is like, oh, thank you so much for coming. I'm so sorry to take you on your Saturday. Murphy's mom's like, no, it's no problem at all. Like, we know how much that dog means to you. Like, we know you do that for us. Like, 100%, like, whenever you want to go. And like, the cousin's mom's like, all right, we're waiting for a few more people to come, but within, like, 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to go outside to scour the neighborhood, look for our dog. Thank you so much for coming again. Anyways, Murphy's mom and Murphy's cousin's mom were talking, and then Murphy's cousin, like, comes up to Murphy's like, Murphy, I need to talk to you one-on-one. And Murphy's like, okay, yeah, what's up? Murphy's cousin's like, Murphy, I know what happened to talking Ben. And Murphy's like, dude, do you mean like your dog? And he's like, yeah, same thing, whatever, right? He no-clipped into the Backrooms. Murphy's like, dude, what does that mean? Because look, Murphy doesn't know what that means, dude. Murphy doesn't know what that means. I mean, she knows what that means now, but at the time, she was just looking at him like, dude, what are you even saying? What are the words coming out of your mouth? And Murphy's cousin looks at Murphy like, oh my God, do I really need to explain all of this? We're wasting so much time. Ben needs to be saved. Murphy's like, dude, I don't know what the back rooms are. Is that like a place like in the neighborhood? Like, is that a place in like your basement or something? Can we go look there? He's like, no, I was talking to Ben. And by the way, like the cousin had started to refer to their dog as Ben, even though the dog's name was like Charles or something. But he started to refer to him as Ben because he was like convinced that he was like the dog that he was seeing online and that his dog lived like a second life or something. He was like, I was talking to Ben and I was like, Ben, do you know about the back rooms? And Ben totally said yes, which I mean, like the dog probably kind of barked or something, which the cousin took as yes. But anyways, he's like, I was talking to Ben about the back rooms. And I was like, are they real? And you know that Ben said yes. And I was like, are you going to get stuck in them? And then he barked and he said yes. And then all of a sudden he's gone. And then like, you know, Murphy sees his like her little cousin starts like crying or whatever. So she's like, all right, I can't be a jerk and be like, dude, what are you even talking about? I need to be sympathetic and help him find his dog, even though it's obviously not even in like whatever the back rooms are. Obviously he's not there. He's just like lost or something. But, you know, whatever, I got to be nice to my little cousin, fair enough. So Murphy goes over to a little cousin, like kind of like, you know, gives him a hug, like, don't worry, we'll find him, like, you can count on me. And, you know, the cousin's like, Murphy, the back rooms are very dangerous. I don't want you to get stuck in there as well. Real quick, a comment the back rooms or just back rooms down below if you want to heart on your comment. I'll be hearting as many comments as I can that I see that say the back rooms. That's the secret word of the day. Turn on notifications, join the Discord, it's in the description. Send in stories to my Instagram, also in the description. Anyways, back to the story. And Murphy's just like, don't worry, we'll find them in the back rooms or not or whatever. And you know, the cousin's like, do you know about the back rooms? And Murphy's like, no, I just don't know what that is. He's like, okay, I'll explain. It's a different reality that is parallel to ours. And Murphy's just like, oh, so it really is this made up. All right. She didn't say that out loud, dude. Her cousin's emotional. Her cousin's an emotional wreck right now. She's not trying to like go in there and like stir stuff up. But she, in her head, she's like, dude, all right, so this just isn't real, I guess. So anyways, Murphy's like, all right, well, either way, we got to go down and find her dog. So Murphy and her little cousin, they walk down the stairs. And, you know, Murphy's mom and her mom, or the cousin's mom, is like, all right, guys, like, you know, and some other people in the neighborhood showed up. All right, guys, let's go on a search party. We're going to go find Charles. Like, we'll go find him. So they go outside. They start walking down the neighborhood. So they start walking down the road and they're yelling like, Charles, we're like kind of like yelling out the name of the dog. And Murphy's cousin is yelling out, Ben. And the cousin's mom keeps looking back like, that's not his name, dude. And anyways, right, so the cousin and Murphy, you know, they all decide to split up into smaller groups to try and make it more efficient. So the cousin and Murphy decide to go into their own group and some other people are in their other groups, whatever. So they're walking around and they pass by this like bush or whatever. And the cousin stops and he's like, Murphy. And like Murphy turns around and she's like, dude, what's up? And, you know, the cousin's like, no, and jumps and literally tackles her. And she's like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, you almost no-clipped into the back rooms. And Murphy's like, dude, legitimately, what are you talking about right now? And he's like, I don't know, but I could feel it. So Murphy, who's on the ground right now after being slide tackled by her cousin, is like, dude, like, I think we're fine. I think we're good. Let's just meet up with the main group and see if they found anything. So, you know, Murphy and her cousin start walking, and her cousin is, like, starting to get really sad. Her cousin started, like, you know, you could see he's starting to cry a little bit. Murphy's like, dude, don't worry. We're going to find your dog. And the cousin's like, once you're in the back rooms, you never come out, man. We're never going to see him again. It's like, as the little cousin is saying that, like, you know, Murphy's like, oh my God, look. And it's Murphy's mom and the cousin's mom, and they're walking towards them. And who do they have on a leash? It was their dog, Charles. And Murphy's cousin yells out, Ben, and runs towards him, and like both the cousin's mom and Murphy's mom is so confused why like their cousin, like the little cousin, is saying Ben to Charles the dog, but they literally don't care. They're just so excited because like the little cousin is beyond happy and just so happy to see his dog again. And he goes up to him, he's like, oh my god, I'm so happy you escaped the back rooms. And Murphy's mom is like, bro, what? And Murphy's and the cousin's mom is just like as confused, but it's like, whatever, it's fine. Like, we're reunited. That's all that matters. Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.